As we sit here upright, whether it's on the floor, on our chair, or cushion, not leaning, but engaged with the forces of attraction by the earth, gravity, and the support of the floor. We begin by not doing anything really, but maybe recognizing that we are feeling, sensing beings, and here and there bodily sensations are present. So even as we do an exercise that we may call focused awareness of bodily sensations, it's not that we have to do the feeling. It feels already. We may not be aware of, but we feel already. So in this particular practice, we go from place to place within ourselves, and we can start with the feet. And probably when I say feet, there's some kind of sensation, some kind of awareness, feeling of where that is, how that feels is maybe better. And there's probably sensation of contact, an awareness of, oh yeah, touch, of something that is firm, that is under my feet, if you sit on a chair, or other kinds of touch, of clothing, of floor, of limbs. There's a contact. Bodily sensations are stimulated by contact with the floor. Maybe in this case, contact with clothing. But there are also, shall we call them, internal sensations of what it is in this moment that is foot, how that feels. And sometimes it's good to be very detailed. Maybe go toe by toe. Oh. And it's okay to move your toes a little bit. Maybe that helps to become more clear of, oh yeah, this is what toe is. This is how it is to be toe right now. And then if you wish, you can discover your toes in more detail. And you don't need my guidance for this. I give you some time. What do you notice about what you call your feet? What kinds of sensations do you notice there? We notice the toes, but there are other parts of the foot that have sensation. The heels. Maybe there's a sense of the arching of the foot. Anything. It's a discovery process, an awakening. In your ankles. And sometimes there seems to be little or no sensation. Don't look for it, as it were. Your eyes can rest, but maybe there's some kind of sensation of space even sometimes. Oh, there is something which I call ankle. There's some sense of that. Calves, left and right. Strong muscles. Now they don't need to work, or just a little bit to hold your balance in sitting. Shins. Do you notice that you don't have to do the feeling? It's not like you have to go there to feel. You are a living organism, a sentient being, as we call it. You feel, it feels, calf and shin. You may be aware of heat or cold, of tension, of laxness, tingling, itching. It's a whole world of sensation. What we call knees. How are we in our knees right now? Sentient beings. The thighs, what's happening, what can you feel, notice in what you call your thighs. And then that connection to the pelvis, the hip joints. What are you aware of there? Can you wake up there between your hip joints? Can you wake up in that space we call pelvis? The depth of our being. The sexual organs sensing quietly. Those delicate regions. The depth of our pelvis. The bladder, intestines, anus, often tightly held. Whenever you notice that, here I'm really tense, don't try to let go, but notice it. And maybe there's a willingness or a readiness to let go just by becoming aware of, oh yes, I don't need this now. But don't push yourself to let go. The sits bones that connect with the cushion, chair, floor, and together provide the basis for your upright sitting. And from there you can rise the trunk, we can't feel the spine directly, but we have a sense of where it is, and we have a lot of sensations around them. For example, in what we call back, a lot of sensations, a lot of holding often. But we are upright sitting is not only through our back, it's the sides of the trunk. They have sensation too. And what we call the front, the belly, chest. And again, it's not looking for sensations, but maybe easing into or waking up to And you may notice that sensing, feeling, is actually pleasurable. Of course, there are aches and pains, but the actual activity of sensing, of feeling, of being a sentient being can be quite pleasurable. So there's a spine that we can't feel directly, but it's not really in the back as much as it is in the center of what we call our trunk. And it's surrounded by the inner organs, of which we may, again, not have a direct sense, but there's definitely sensations in our belly. Stomach region, and what we call lungs in the chest. And chest maybe suggests something rigid. In German there's a term, Brustkorb, which means basket. And the woven basket is something movable, if only slightly, but it can be moved, can expand and contract. So this firm, woven, tightly woven chest, basket, and within the breathing lungs. And without doing the breathing, but noticing it, allowing it, you may notice expansion and contractions in many places. Often we focus on the front or the belly, but there is more that expands. We expand sideways and even slightly through our backs, and maybe you notice some of this expansion and contraction. And on top of that chest, what we call shoulders, this very intricate and complicated and beautiful arrangement that leads into arms. It's very delicate, often very tense, very much held, as though we don't quite know how to be open for the breath that also wants to move upwards towards the shoulders, the lung tips. They're very far up. And breathing could be almost like a massage from within, encouraging shoulders to be at ease, to give. And here again, we're not doing the relaxing, but we're becoming aware and we're allowing the breath to do what it is designed to do. And part of it is to feed the shoulder region with movement and to help it ease. And what are you noticing of what you call arms? Again, enjoy the discovery process. You don't necessarily need someone to point things out to you. They're already there. And you enjoy discovering, oh, upper arm, oh, elbows. And so forth. So you may not thoroughly cover every square inch or cubic inch, I should really say, of what you call arms and hands and fingers. But here and there, maybe in your pinky, you'll become really alert, or in the palms of your hands. Maybe there's a sense of the whole complexity of what we call arms. Not thinking about it, but happily sensing, feeling. And coming back to the shoulders and the sense of sitting and balancing. This spine that rises up between your arms up into what we call head. We could call the skull the last vertebrae, just for fun and for now. It's part of that column of intricate, movable bones. The spinal column is not a rigid thing, and even though we don't move now, it's in constant response to gravity, to the floor. And on top of it is this big vertebrae we call skull, balanced, but often very tightly held, which we might feel through our neck and the base of our skull. There are ears, and there's space between ears. There's the dome of the skull. Notice how delicate, how sensitive you are. Even if you maybe think, oh, I'm not feeling anything, you feel something, a sense of head, a sense of space between your ears, behind your eyes, behind your forehead. And then there's this, what we call face. What does face feel like right now? What wakes up and becomes sentient? It's been sentient the whole time, but maybe now, here and there, you notice more clearly, oh, these are what I call eyes. They're resting in their little caves. Or maybe they're restless. With the eyes closed, they're protected. And they don't need to see now. And there's nose. And its contact with air. The movement of air deep inside the nose in the skull. There are temples and cheekbones and cheeks. There's a jaw, an upper jaw, a lower jaw, often tightly held too. Maybe some of that tension is ready to let go. Again, not by doing it, but just compassionately sensing, and maybe something is ready to let go. And if not, that's okay. So here you are, a sentient, feeling being from head to toe, from front to back, from side to side. Some sensations will be in the foreground, others will be in the background. Maybe you notice that it constantly changes. Maybe some things seem to remain the same, but our attention moves around, doesn't it?